Okay, quick video. Got my voice back. If you're a subscriber or you subscribe, you can get a EPZ gold. It's a gold DAC amp. Looks very cool. And the Q5 also by EPZ. I will not be reviewing those items. The 530 will be reviewed, and that will be a set that goes to Patreon. So everything that's over $500 from now on is going to go to people that are my Patreons, because they literally financially support the channel. But if you can't afford to do that, items under 500, so 499, 350, those things will still be going out to people that are subscribers and support in that way, so don't worry about that. This is a video for the Hype series by ThieAudio. There's 3 IEMs and they're tuned very similar. Let's take a look at the frequency graph, which is right in front of you. This is Tech Power Up, because I haven't even uploaded the graph for the 10 yet. But his mic is reasonably similar to mine, and this looks about what I'm seeing. When I do my own graphs, they look very similar. They seem very redundant. In some ways they really are, and to catch the difference between them took me trying to listen a lot. Cymbals don't really sound that much different. The power and force with drums and 4 and 5 string bass guitars don't really sound like it. I stumbled upon a track that might not be in your library, but it doesn't really matter because I'm going to be specific with this. Also, my recommendation order and my preference order won't be the same, so I'll try to keep it as legit as possible. So it's going to not make sense to you, but that's because it's my honest opinion, and it doesn't make sense. But I'll say it to you anyway, because I thought about, I'll just skip this video, but I'll do it. Horse with No Name, the vocals sound on the 2 kind of back, a little bit back, with the 4 and the 10 at the exact same setting for output, volume, loudness. The vocals sound normal. That was my first hint, and that's a track that you can check yourself if you've got the 2 and the 4 or the 10 and the 2, or you can check this. This is why I put up music, so you can follow what I'm saying. The second one is Chris Cornell, Nothing Compares to You, which is a cover of a Sinead O'Connor track, which was written by Prince. I believe he wrote it. I don't know if he performed it until after Sinead O'Connor made it famous. But Chris Cornell's version of that also sounds like he's slightly back on the 2 compared to the 4 and the 10. And one more example is Ozzy Osbourne on Sweet Leaf, which is what I use to check masking. But normally when Ozzy is represented in a what I would call authentic way, he's kind of abrasive. He's got a screechy, nasally vocal, not like Neil Young, but kind of like that. And when the vocals are too much, he literally gets in the way and distracts from me focusing on the bassist and the drummer and the masking. On the 2, he doesn't, because he seems to be slightly back, which matches the America, Horse with No Name, and Chris Cornell. So I think I nailed it, and that's what I'm going to keep this video on, because everything else is speculation. This is actually too, but I'm confident that this is actually what I'm hearing. There's 2 terms. One is called a V-shaped set, and that represents on one side, I might put this up when I edit the video, the left side of the V is obviously the bass. That little teeny termination before it goes to the right is supposed to represent mids, which means that there's not really much mids. And then the right side is treble. So you've got bass, you've got treble, not a lot of mids. We say V-shaped. U-shaped would be something that makes sense when you look at the U. The bottom of the U is more flattened out, so the mids exist more relative to a V set. All 3 of these sets on a graph are really kind of U-shaped. They've got elevated bass, however, they've got mids from about 250 all the way to the ear gain. I would call that a U set, all 3 of these. To the ear, the Hype 2 sounds like a kind of V-shaped set, because the vocals seem slightly set back compared to the other 2. Why is that? I can't even begin to speculate. Is it driver count? I don't know, so I won't. That's the only thing that I could come up with, but I won't even get into that, because there's a lot of good sets that have low driver counts and it doesn't really make any difference. But that's the only real difference between it, is driver count. So the Hype 2 sounds like a V set, and the other 2 sound like a U. Now, if it's not already up, I'm going to put up my recommendations. If I were to recommend to you from the 3, I would say that the Hype 4 would be the one that I would recommend to get. I think that both the 4 and the 10 sound audibly superior to the 2. But I can't explain to you enough of any reason to grab the 10 as opposed to the 4. It sounds better to me, but it's hard for me to look at my library and say, you know, on this tracker, I can actually do it, but I'm really, really pulling stuff out of my butt, and I'm kind of rationalizing, and I'm biased, and I like more drivers. And I know that, and you should know that if you watch my channel. I can't tell you why the 10 is worth the money, but I think that I can tell you that the 4 sounds less V-shaped than the 2. So that would be my rec. And then would be the 2 because it's good at what it does, and then its price range. And then the 10 would be last because it's like $900. And when there's a set that's very close to it, almost placebo level similarity, the 4 and the 10, I can't really say go, you should grab that in these 3 being compared. Now, my personal preference is different from that. That's why I'm separating these. I'd grab the 10 because I actually believe that the 10 sounds better. But again, I can't cite specific stuff, and since this is audio replay gear and I should be citing music to you, I really can't without saying, to me it sounds kind of better. On this song, I can't do it. So I would take the 10 because I like it and bias, and then I take the 4 because I definitely think it's better than 2, and then I would take the 2 last because it sounds, I don't really need a V-shape at that price, and it sounds like that to me. So now you can see why I didn't do this video, because I just said that 3 sets that graph almost identical, one of them, and oh, how convenient, the cheapest one, sounds kind of V-ish. It's all too cute, but it's how I hear it. So do the video, put it on record, that's how I hear it. And I'll just wrap it up right there. So make note, my recommendations and my personal preferences are not really the same. When you look at my overall ranking list for the best earphones, that's my personal preference, obviously. But that's every reviewer. Everybody's giving their own opinion. Their listening level, their library, that magical mystery thing that we can't even describe to other people because we don't know it, is all different between everybody, so there's a lot of variation. And I'll wrap it up right there. Again, if you're not a Patreon, go ahead and consider being one, because from really now forward, things that are over 500 in value are going to be going to Patreons. 2 people will win stuff, and then others can bid on it, like Zeos's channel. But I'll try to be more reasonable and more, I'll try to compete with him on that. But stuff that is, you know, 450, 400, 300, which is still a good get, is going to continue to go to people that are maybe not able to pay that money for a Patreon, but still keep it going with that crew. Again, import stuff is your responsibility. Sorry, take that into consideration when you comment under videos, and if you win, consider if you can afford, because I don't declare different from the value of the item. And that's kind of how that goes. So don't forget to comment below this video if you're interested in the EPZ gold DAC amp, which looks really cool, and the Q5, and that will be announced on the unboxing channel. So make sure you subscribe and select notifications turn on for that channel, because that's where you would find out if you got something or not. So thank you for your time. Again, prefer the 10, but I'm comfortable wrecking the 4 over the other 2, because I think I can tell the difference between the more budget set, and I can't really explain to you the difference between it and the more expensive one. So the 4 gets the highest rec, and the 10 gets my personal. I'll take that one, please. Thank you very much. And I'm out. See you guys probably 2 days, and I'm definitely out.